Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to Viva Explorers community, and we are here to discuss more about Viva. Throughout the day, you will be seeing more about Viva, and specifically, we are here to talk about how we'll be able to build the adaptive card extension for using SharePoint framework for Microsoft Viva. So this is a topic which is more of interest for the developer as well as, for example, if you're trying to get into the development, or maybe if you want to quickly go ahead and develop some kind of an extensions for Viva connection, probably this session will should help you, right? So this is the agenda for our session. We'll have introduction to Microsoft Viva connection. I know you must be knowing that, but we'll just quickly touch base upon the concept for the ones who are probably starting their journey with Viva. We will also explore the Viva connections experience that we have got, and then we will see like what is meant by curated as well as the tailored experience, and then we will go more about the customized experience, the curated experience by implementing the cards, and then we will end the session by seeing how we'll be able to extend the Microsoft Viva connection with something called as SS, or adaptive card extension for SharePoint framework. All right. Okay, so before we start, quick introduction. Myself, Nandadeep Nathan. I'm Microsoft MVP for MC65 Apps and Services, as well as Microsoft Certified Trainer. I'm author of three books, including SharePoint Framework, as well as SharePoint Hybrid and Microsoft Viva Connection itself. And again, for example, if you want to get in touch with me, here are the social media handles. If in case you want to have more discussion around Viva, please go ahead, send me a request, and then I will be more than happy to have a discussion further with you. And with me today is Smita. Oh, sorry, just give us one moment. I guess we are not able to hear Smita.
Hello, can you hear me now? Yes, sorry. So some mic issue. Yeah. So myself, Smithanathan. I am from Pune, India. I'm a Microsoft MVP and I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. And I'm having total 15 years of experience, especially in MC65. And I'm author of a couple of books. And you can just get in touch with me on LinkedIn and Twitter if you have any questions. So with that, let's see what exactly this Microsoft Viva connection. So first, I would like to give you some of the introduction. So across the globe, millions have transitions to remove working over the past years, and organizations are finding a ways of how to make this new world of work more sustainable for their people. So in this session, we will explore how an employee experience platform Microsoft Viva addresses the challenges faced by employees, leaders, managers, and IT. So we'll be focusing on a specific module of Viva, for that is, for example, Viva Connections, which is a curated, company branded experience that brings together the relevant news, conversations, resources in the application, and devices you use every day. So let's see what is this Microsoft Viva Connection home site base. So the Microsoft Viva Connections provides a curated employee experience and it surfaces the relevant content such as the news, announcement, communications and conversations to employees. This makes the employee experience engaging and informative. So it is an exciting time to reimagine the workplace as a digital experience rather than a physical place. So, this hybrid digital experience is people centric, inclusive, and flexible. As you can see on the screen, this Microsoft Viva connection supports both for this mobile as well as for the desktop user. So, when it's come to the setting up the Viva connections at your organizations, you have two choices to set it up. So, the first one is the traditional SharePoint home site base, and second one is the new Viva connection home experience, which does not need setting up a SharePoint home site. So let's see how we can just set up and launch the Viva connection home site base. So a traditional way to set up the Viva connections involves 8 steps, including the business and IT, as you can see on the screen. So, the first step is to prepare your modern SharePoint intranet. So, prepare your intranet by ensuring the intranet content and the flow of information is in order. A well planned and well executed intranet hub or a site are important elements in ensuring you get the best from Viva connections. So, when you set up the Viva connection, global navigation in the SharePoint app bar and the navigation on the SharePoint home site will impact the overall Viva connection experience. The step 2 is for home site. A home site is a SharePoint communication site that acts as the front door to your organization's intranet and has a special capabilities such as the ability to prioritize the news posted from the home site across the rest of the intranet. So when you deploy the Viva connection, your SharePoint home site becomes the intranet landing experience inside of Microsoft Teams. Step 3 is for the app bar and the global navigation. The SharePoint app bar allows users to find the important content and the resources and dynamically displays the personalized sites, news, and files. So the Viva connection uses elements from the SharePoint app bar and a global navigation for the desktop and mobile experiences. Step 4 is for the dashboard and cards. So the Viva Connection dashboard enables you to create a curated experience using dashboard cards that give your employees access to their most critical content and tools. So these cards are designed to enable quick task completion either by interacting with a card directly or by opening a quick view in the dashboard. Step number 5 is to prepare content for the feed. So, in the Viva Connection app, users will see a feed that is personalized with relevant content personalized to them. So, for the best engaging experience, use the feeds from SharePoint News, Yammer Community, and videos from Stream. Step number 6 is to add the app in Teams. So, once we have prepared our intranet for Viva connections in SharePoint, we are ready to add the Viva Connection app from Microsoft Teams Admin Center. So customize it, define needed permission policies, and set up the policies to launch the Viva connection as an app in Microsoft Teams. Step number 7 is you have to choose the mobile settings. So to meet the usability experience of both information workers and frontline workers, it is important to define the mobile settings for the Viva Connection app. So the mobile experience for the Viva connection is optimized to focus on the three major elements. First one is the dashboard, second one is the feed, and third one is the resources. So for the dashboard, it displays the dynamic cards for users to take the quick action. A feed can generally surface the content relevant to the user from SharePoint, Yammer, and Stream. And the resources section in the mobile experience displays the global navigation from SharePoint. And the last step number 8 is to launch with end users. So it helps make end users aware of this new resource and provide guidance to them. So to help end users understand how to use the desktop and mobile experience. So to get continuous feedback from them and work on it to implement the best possible engaging employee experience. Now let's see how this new Viva Connection home experience is. So the new Viva Connection home experience to desktop has started to roll out in the targeted release tenants. So this new experience make it easy to roll out Viva Connection without having to set up the SharePoint home site. So with the new Viva connection home experience, you no more need to set up the SharePoint home site. When added, the new experience is ready to use with branding, a dashboard, and resources. So there are a few points we have to consider that if you already have the Viva connection set up with the home site, the new home design will use the same content without any additional configuration needed. The cards and dashboard will be used from the previous configuration, that is the home site, and the resources will be used from the previous configuration, it's also home site, and the audience targeting on dashboard cards and resources will be used from the previous configuration of home site. Can you please promote Nandadeep? He's on backstage.
Oh yeah, okay, all right. I'm in the show now. All right. Okay, so now that let us go into the demo and then let us see the new Viva Connection home experience. So this is the new Viva home connection experience. So as you can see on the screen, sorry, as you can see on the screen, this is the new Viva home kind of an experience. So at the top, we do have this Microsoft Viva. Once you click on that hamburger icon, the other models of Viva you should be able to see from here. So that means Viva Learning and other modules that you have configured for your organization, you should be able to view it from here. Okay, it is taking some time to load a demo time, but okay. So this is the place from where you should be able to switch between the two experiences. So for example, if I click this home now I will be taken back to the previous kind of an experience wherein this one is kind of a SharePoint home site based experience. But if in case you are facing some kind of an issue with home site, or maybe if you are not ready for your SharePoint home site, in this case Microsoft does provide this kind of an experience through which you can have the home base or home kind of an experience for your Viva. So there are a few major elements of this home experience. So again, for example, if I click onto those three dots, you can see that we do have a refresh. So that means it is going to entirely refresh the page, and if there are any changes that you recently have made, you should be able to see that. The major thing here is the manage access. So from this manage access, you should be able to determine like who should have permission to view what kind of an experiences onto this authoring experiences. So what you can do from here is that you can assign the content author. So one needs at least member level or higher kind of a permission to edit the new desktop experience. So once you click on this right hand top corner three dots and then click manage access, this is the experience that you will get, and from here you will be able to grant access to the other users to manage the new desktop experiences. So as you can see, we have three kind of an areas from where we'll be able to go ahead and give permission to our users. So first one is the owners or a full controls, so through which we can edit all content and permission settings. Then we do have members or limited control, which can help any of the user to just edit the content in the dashboard and navigation. And then lastly, this is just the visitors or view only. So this one can just have the view only kind of an access to the user. So what you can do is you can just simply click here, and you'll be able to see all of the owners. You can click grant access. From there you can use the people picker to select your users and grant them the needed kind of an access. Okay. The other thing is like now that whenever we are looking at Viva connection, we should always kind of and give the oh sorry, my screen seems to be stuck. Okay, so whenever we kind of an create this Viva connection kind of an experience. Oh, my desktop doesn't seem to be working. Let me just do a quick thing. Okay, all right. Just give me one moment. Let me just open up the same kind of an Viva experience onto my machine. Mm, all right. So since till my virtual machine wakes up, but okay, yeah, now here it is. Okay. So in this kind of a case where means in the Viva connection home kind of an experiences, it is very much essential that we should provide some kind of a unique branding experience. And to provide that unique branding experience, we either can use this background image kind of an experience that is available to us. So from here you can see the edit icon through which I should be able to go ahead and change the image. So we can change we can use any of the image from the stock images which are available for your organization, or maybe we can do a web search. We can also choose any of the image from OneDrive for Business or maybe from SharePoint site, or at the max even we'll be able to upload any of the image from your machine. All right. So these are the experiences from where we should be able to go ahead and add the images. And at the same time, once you add the images, you can set the focus point as well, or the focal point as well. And then through that, you should be able to go ahead and add that image. And once you're happy with the alignment and everything, you can just click save, and that's it. Now that you are pretty much ready to provide that kind of an unique branding experience for your Viva connection experience. The third thing here is that set up the dashboard. So the dashboard is a place that helps you to place the cards for your employees to manage their work better. And now that once you click on edit, this one will take you to the special page in SharePoint, which is the kind of a landing page for your cards, which we are going to see in more details. And from here you should be able to go ahead and add multiple cards. So you can just click on add, and then from here we'll be able to add multiple cards. We're going to deep dive into this bit later, but this is how these dashboard cards are placed, and we'll be able to design that experience for our users. And then finally we do have all of the resources. So for example, all of the navigation that you see, you should be able to see that from here. So this is something about the new kind of an experiences that we have got there. So now that we have been talking about the experiences for our users, so like there are a few of the experiences that can be used uh, by your admin. At the same time, there is some kind of an experiences that can come to your users based on what they follow, or what is the content being uploaded, or maybe pushed by the content authors to the users. So with that, let us see like what is mean by that, and then again how we'll be able to go ahead and give that kind of an curated experience to our users. But before that, quickly, like for example, if you want to choose between the home site or new home experience, in that case unfortunately there is no direct way available from UI, but at least you can use the PowerShell based approach. So you can use this command called as set -spo home site, specifying the home site URL and the Viva connection default start experience. So for example, if you set it to true, then in that case the Viva connection home experience will be set as a default for you. Otherwise the home site experience will be set as default for you. At the same time, you can also use this PNP PowerShell for the same purpose. The next thing now is that whenever we are launching the Viva connections, the content is pretty much important there. So there are various areas from where this content can come to Viva. So first thing is obviously SharePoint. So all of the news posts from your home site, those those can be seen onto the Viva. So let's say, for example, I'm going back to the Viva experience. Okay, my desktop is not working. Okay, so once I go here, probably down, if I go, you should be able to see all of the data which is coming here from the navigation, as well as I haven't added the experience here for showing the feeds. But for example, once you go ahead and add the experience for feed as well, all of the feeds from your SharePoint news, you should be able to see it from here. As well as we can also um, we can also have at least 250 kind of an organizational news site setup, which gives the authenticated feeling to your users for to go ahead and have the news post being shown from the from your organizational news. And then again, all of the posts from your frequently visited as well as followed sites can be seen. And then again, for example, if you want to have that kind of an customized or curated experience for your users to show them a specific news, in that case, you can go ahead and use the boosted news kind of an experience from the followed SharePoint sites. The second kind of a source from where the data can come, or the information can come, is from Yammer. So all of the posts from all company community are being shown there, as well as all of the announcements from the all company community can be shown onto your Viva Connections homepage. And then again, maybe if you want to have some kind of a featured post on public communities, even those can be shown, or even the post from the followed communities, the communities that you follow on Yammer, even those can be shown here. And then the last thing from where content can come through to stream is obviously videos from stream, which is built on the new SharePoint experience, as well as video news link from organizational news site, or maybe videos embedded into the news feed. So these are the areas from where the content for the news feed can come through. So again, it is kind of an on what content that you are following in SharePoint, Yammer, those can be shown to you. At the same time, even as a content author, you can impose certain content for your users as the important one, even that can be shown to your users. So for that, quickly let's get into like what is meant by that curated as well as the tailored experience that we have got there, right? So let us see what is meant by curated and tailored experience.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. So the Viva connection presents the options to create a both curated and the tailored experience for the content creator. So the curated experience can be pushed to users by the site owner or the authors. So the site owners can use the audience targeting to target the content for the users. So the SharePoint home site, dashboard, and resources are example of a curated experience. And in a tailored experience, the content is presented to users based on the communities or the sites they follow in SharePoint, group membership in Yammer, or popular content. A feed is an example of a tailored experience.
All right. So with that, probably let's move ahead and then now that we are going to deep dive into dashboard and then again what kind of an cards that that we can create with the dashboards. So firstly, let us understand what is meant by dashboard. So dashboard is just simply created of medium as well as large size card that can help your users to interact to get the information or maybe complete their task. Okay, so those are kind of a very effective way to show your information. So as you can see on the dashboard, this is mix of few of the cards which are available out of the box as well as customly created. We are going to go into that slowly, but this is kind of a dashboard where we can place multiple cards that can help your users to go ahead and find the information as well as do their task. Okay, so user can select the card, click on the buttons, and then they will be able to navigate to the cards with the help of something called as a quick view. So again, there is a concept of card view and quick view which we are going to see a bit later. But again, there are various ways in which we should be able to go ahead and add the cards on our dashboard. All right, so now that since we want to go ahead and acquire those cards, what are the ways in which you should be able to do this? So this is kind of an screen which was presented by Vesa Yunan into multiple conferences. So these are kind of an sources which are available to go ahead and acquire the cards for you. So the first experience here is the first party apps, right? So let's say for example, if I go back to my SharePoint home site, so this is my SharePoint home site, and now that from here I will just click see all to go to the dashboard. And once I click edit onto the dashboard, this is the experience from where we will be able to go ahead and add the cards for our users. So we do have mobile experience here as well as the desktop experience here. Once we click on add a card, these are all of the cards that we see, and these are nothing but the first party kind of an cards which are readily available, made available by Microsoft, which we can directly go ahead and start using. All right, so those are nothing but the first party kind of an apps. Then again, secondly, we do have few of the cards which are coming from SharePoint store. So you can visit SharePoint store, maybe download any of the or maybe purchase any of the cards which are available there, maybe by your ISVs as well. Thirdly, we do have Microsoft App Source as well. So this is just a recent announcement that came maybe yesterday or day before yesterday. That now that even there is another category called as Viva. So this is a small screenshot, but you can see that Viva is selected here, and then all of the cards which are available for the Viva category, you should be able to select from Microsoft App Source as well. Again, as a fourth kind of an way to acquire the cards is like even you should be able to get all of the cards which are available from the partner solution. So let's say for example, if your organization has adopted ServiceNow or Workday to maintain your task or maybe maintain your holidays and all those things, so in that case you can acquire all those cards from those partner solutions and use them, so that for your employees they don't need to leave the team, go to the service now or workday kind of an application separately, but in the team itself onto the Microsoft Viva connection home experience, they will be able to see the card from where they will be able to effectively carry out their work without leaving the experience of Microsoft Teams. And then lastly, apps for SharePoint. So this is the thing that we are going to see now for rest of the session, that also we can go ahead and create the customized or line of business kind of an application using SharePoint framework. So this is some kind of an screenshot from the tenant app catalog, but we are going to see like how we can simply go ahead and create those kind of an card. All right. So these are a few kind of an ways from where we should be able to go ahead and acquire the cards. So now that, let's say for example, if you want to go ahead and maybe go some pro kind of a thing into the card implementation, then again there are three ways from where you should be able to go ahead and acquire the card. So first thing that we have seen, like no code, that means first party kind of an app. So let's say for example, if I again go back to my SharePoint homepage, and these are kind of an cards which are readily available. So let's say for example, we do have shifts, or maybe we do have approvals or assigned tasks. So I can simply go ahead and click on that card. So now that you can see that right away I'm able to see all of the tasks which are assigned to me. And for example, if I click this pencil icon to edit the card, you can see that we don't have any much configurations here, just the size of the card, whether it should be a medium or large size card, or then again for example if you want to do audience targeting for that card. But these are pre-configured kind of an cards come up directly from Microsoft, which you can use to go ahead and start using directly. The second kind of a card as a developer probably, or maybe as a low code kind of a developer that you can use probably, is the card designer. All right. So for that, what you need to do is, let's say for example, if I again go back to the uh, to the SharePoint sites for the Viva connections, and we click on add a card. So here we have special type of card called as a card designer. So once you click on that card designer, now that you can see onto the right hand side of this card, in this property pane, you are able to see very much options available. So probably let me just delete, or maybe just move this card somewhere, or let me just delete this card. Let me just take this card into the large card size. And now that we'll be able to see some more information about this card. So either we can have the type, the template type as a heading, so wherein we should be able to just go ahead and define some kind of an heading, or maybe image with heading as well. So we can have some kind of an image, as well as even there will be a heading, or maybe we can just have some kind of a description here with no image. So these are three kind of templates which are available, which we can use. And then again, if you want to go ahead, um, configure those basic properties like title, icon, you should be able to do that. The next thing here is that we do have actions kind of an pane here, through which we should be able to go ahead and define action for our card. So as you see on this card, we do have two buttons. So first one is a primary button, which is highlighted in a blue, which is my primary theme of SharePoint here. And then the secondary button, which is kind of an not the focused one, but at least still it follows the SharePoint theme here. So these are two kind of an cards we can see here, but what should happen on the click of this button, we can define from here. So let's say for example, if you want to just show the quick view. So what is mean by quick view, we will come to that bit later. So at least we can show the quick view, or we can go to a link, or maybe if you want to just go ahead and open up the Teams app, even we can do it from here. If you want to go ahead and select the media based on the click of that, even that is possible. If you want to select the location from the map by clicking on this, so this is kind of an useful functionality for the frontline workers, if they want to share the location, or maybe if they want to upload something directly by capturing the pictures. So at least select media or select location, those are the useful features in those kind of n cases. At the last, even we do have display specified or current location, even that can be done. So these are few kind of an actions that can be taken on this button. At the same time, obviously we can go ahead and change the name for this button. So we do have this kind of a button which we can use. But the beauty of this is, we do have this template JSON, right? So let's say for example, if I go into the preview mode and if I click onto this button, we are going into the adaptivecards.io. So adaptive cards are nothing but those are the JSON based cards, which shows us or gives us the flexibility to create our UI with a lighter weight JSON card-based experiences. Okay, my screen is again stuck, but okay, just give me one moment. All right. Okay, sorry for that. Looks like my internet connection, but okay. So now that means at least with these adaptive cards, you should be able to go ahead, maybe explore few of the samples which are available, and all this kind of an experience you should be able to define for your Viva Connections card. So let's say, for example, if you want to do that kind of an experiences, what you can do simply here is that you can close this preview. You can click on edit, and then let's say for on click of this button you want to show some kind of a card, or this is one kind of an experience that we already have defined. So let's say we want to have the registration done for this scuba diving event which is happening. So in that case what we can do here is that we can add some kind of a customized image. We can have the primary button, and which is showing the quick view, and you can see that this is the template JSON which is showing the information which is available here. Let me just run that so that you should be able to get some idea. So once I click on register, this is the card view which you can see, which is helping us to capture the information about the user, for example the name, email address, phone number, and then they can submit that information to get themselves involved into the scuba diving. All right, so how this experience has been built is with the card view which is created on top of JSON based adaptive cards. So let's say for example, to show that, if I go here on the action of this button which is named as register here, we just can go ahead and show the quick view, and that quick view is defined into this pane which is below. Here we do have got those template JSON, and we have got the data JSON. So template JSON and data JSON, they both go hand in hand. So template JSON just define the view that you want to go ahead and showcase for your cards, and then all of the placeholders here, for example this dollar body which is highlighted here, or maybe this dollar title which is highlighted here. So this kind of an experiences or this kind of an placeholders can be can be can be changed at the runtime, or can be defaulted at the runtime from this kind of a data JSON. So whenever this card will loaded, this entire dollar title body will be replaced with the text that you see here. Okay, so this is how this template JSON and data JSON, they go hand in hand. So this is some kind of a low code kind of an experiences, if in case you are not a pro code developer, but if you're not satisfied with the first party kind of an apps which are available for your Viva connection. In that case, you can obviously go ahead and have some kind of an low code kind of an card designed for you. But obviously, you need to have some experience with JSON. But if in case, even if you don't have JSON kind of an experience, not to worry. Here we do have the entire playground or this designer available for this JSON. So once you go into this adaptive cards IO slash JSON. So here you can see that, let's say for example, I want to add some kind of a text block here. I can just simply go ahead, keep adding all the elements that I want, and then you can see that it is already going ahead and creating all that card editor for me. So this is the payload that gets created in terms of JSON. So I can simply copy paste this JSON from here into my adaptive cards here, and then we should be able to go ahead and have that kind of an experience. So if in case you are not a pro code developer, but if you want to still have some kind of a low code designer experience, in that case you can simply go ahead and use this card designer. Now that let's come into the last part, like for example, if you are a pro developer, or if you want to go ahead and start developing few things using SharePoint framework solution, in that case you should be able to do that. So when we should go for the custom code is like, let's say for example, entire functionality that we are looking out for is probably not available with first party uh, cards which are made available from Microsoft to us, or maybe if that kind of an functionality is not probably achievable with low code card designer, or maybe if that functionality is probably not given by any of the third party or ISV vendors, in that case, or if in case you want to have more control over your code, you can go ahead and simply start creating your custom code with SharePoint framework. So I'm going to do now is that since this scaffolding of this project takes almost 5 to 7 minutes, quickly go ahead and let us scaffold that project first, and then we will go into the theory part again. So now that I'm onto the command prompt and we want to go ahead and scaffold our project for SharePoint Framework Edge-based solution. So what I can do is that on the command prompt, I will run this command called as yo@microsoft/SharePoint, which is the Yeoman generator for SharePoint Framework, through which we will be able to go ahead and scaffold the project or solution for SharePoint Framework for ACES adaptive card extension. So this is wizard kind of a thing. Firstly, this one will ask for the solution name. So I'm just specifying this solution name as it is, the default one. Or if you want, you can type the name, and then from there you should be able to go ahead specify your customized name for that. Again, this one is the again, I think my connection has stuck. Okay, so this is the experience from where we should be able to create some kind of an client side component. So obviously we can create web parts, we can create extensions, we can create library, or we can create the adaptive card extension. All right, my machine is a bit slow today. Oh, sorry, just give me one moment. All right, so okay, so no problem. Probably we can come back to it later once my machine starts working. Yeah, it's here. Okay, so I can use my keys to go ahead and select that type of an extension. So I'm just going ahead and choosing the adaptive card extension. Now that again we do have three types of an card that we can create here. We're going to see that, but as of now I'm just going to go ahead and select this primary text template. Okay, this one will ask like what is the name of your adaptive card extension. So based on what kind of a scenario onto which you want to go ahead and create this adaptive card extension. So let's say for example, a vacation calendar, or maybe public holidays, or any kind of a thing, you can just name that extension. So to keep it simple, we'll just go ahead with hello world. So this is the scaffolding that can happen. And for example, if I open up the folder in which this scaffolding is taking place, you can see that this human generator has started creating few of the files, a JS file as well as the TypeScript kind of a file. But this obviously take at least 5 to 7 minutes. So what we'll do is we will again go back to our presentation. Once that scaffolding is ready, we'll go ahead and start creating that project. So before we go ahead, I just want to quickly spend some time onto the SharePoint framework. So SharePoint framework is not new at all to everyone. We have been using the SharePoint framework for almost 5 or 7 or even more years. This is kind of an new developer experience for the developers to go ahead and start creating the experiences, not just for SharePoint but also for Microsoft Teams, Viva Connections, as well as Outlook for web. So these are the kind of an experiences that you can create in Microsoft 365 using SharePoint framework. So firstly, we do have experiences that we can create using SharePoint framework for Microsoft Teams is like we can build Microsoft Teams tab, or we can create the personal apps, we can create the messaging extensions, or even we can create the meeting apps kind of an experience using SharePoint framework for Microsoft Teams. Again, for example, obviously, if you want to use SharePoint framework for SharePoint development, in that case, you can go ahead and start creating web parts, extension, library components. Again, you can also create the Viva connections dashboard card, which we are currently scaffolding as of now. And then lastly, you can also go ahead and create Outlook for web add-ins using SharePoint framework. So with this SharePoint framework experience, you should be able to go ahead and build all this kind of an experience. And it is like once you create one solution, you should be able to go ahead and use it across multiple applications, whether it is Microsoft Teams or SharePoint or even Outlook. The same code or same solution can work on all the platforms, which is the beauty of SharePoint framework. All right, so now that we are specifically focusing about creating the rich experience with SharePoint framework for adaptive card extension or SS that we see. So you must have seen that during scaffolding, we saw three kind of an options to create those templates. So first one is the basic card template, then we have image card template, and then the primary text template. So these are the screenshots which are available from the Microsoft documentation itself, which shows like what is mean by the basic card templates and everything. So let us go ahead and explore more about that.
So the developers can extend the Microsoft Viva connections for building the engaging experience SharePoint framework, that is the SPFX. So SPFX version 1.0 introduce support for building a solutions to customize and extend the Microsoft Viva connection. So these adaptive card extensions are a new SharePoint framework component type which enables developers to build a rich native extensions to Viva Connection dashboard and SharePoint pages. So the adaptive card extension uses the adaptive card framework with declarative JSON schema to generate the UI so that the developer can focus on the business logic rather than thinking of the complex JSON building on their own. So this adaptive card extension supports this below list of template as you can see on the screen, that is the basic card template, image card template, and the primary text template.
Okay, so again, there are few kind of an advanced capabilities which are available with adaptive card extensions, as we have seen. Like we can use the geolocation as well as media upload. But okay, with that, let us go back to our solution here. And now that you can see that we already have the solution scaffolded. Now that if I just want to go ahead and see the code part of it, I can just simply space type code space dot, and then the solution should open up into the Visual Studio Code. Okay, so this is the Visual Studio Code, and then again, this is the entire solution structure that we see here. Okay, so now that what we are going to do is let's build a smaller use case. Like we have a SharePoint site called as SV demo. Inside of this SharePoint site, we have got list called as projects. We have some entries in this list with title and description. Now let us see how easily we should be able to go ahead and show this kind of information into the adaptive card extension, right? So I've just tried to keep it very much simple, but trust me, the practice is the only key here. So whenever you will go ahead, start using this SharePoint framework, you will feel very much easy with that. So there is one thing here is that let's say, for example, now you want to go ahead and start interacting with the SharePoint data. Either you can write your own code, or there is something called as PNP framework or PNP.js kind of a thing, through which gives the layer on top of all those APIs that we use to call SharePoint, and then we can simply rely on PNP framework to go ahead and make all those calls for us, and then we can simply focus on our business logic. So for that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to consume that PNP as the as the PNP JS. So for that, I'm just going to write this command called as npm install or npm I at the rate pnp/sp. So even you should be able to find out the documentation around that. But this is nothing but um, a PNP JS kind of an node package manager or npm package available, through which we'll be able to go ahead and start interacting with SharePoint, so that we don't need to write complex code to read from SharePoint or write to the SharePoint or even to the graph APIs and everything. We can simply use the APIs which are available from there, and then we'll be able to use that. All right, so now that we have added that, so where this reference goes is like, for example, if I go into this project structure, we are going to look at that project structure as well. So here we have got this package JSON and the PNPSP that I just have added here. You can see that this has been added as a dependency here. So whenever I will hand over this package to any of the other developer, obviously it can detect that dependency and get it installed. Okay, so what we are going to do now is that I'm just going to run this command called as gulp serve, so that this entire solution can run. It can build the solution and it can run the solution in the browser. But as it builds and runs, meanwhile, let us spend some time to go through the project structure. So onto the left hand side in this Visual Studio Code, you can see the project structure. We do have the config folder there, which is the configurations kind of an folder. So we do have various files here called as config.json, which contains your bundling information and everything. The major focus here is this serve.json. So what can happen is now that what I will do is I will just take the name of our SharePoint site and I will put it up here. So whenever we will serve this solution using gulp serve, it should go ahead and open up this URL. So this is a special URL called as workbench.aspx. So we should be able to go ahead and test out our functionality that we have developed so far onto this workbench. So the gulp serve is still running. It might take another maybe seconds, another few seconds, but meanwhile let us keep continuing exploring all of the project structure that we have got. So these are the libraries that we have got. We just does the mapping. All of the npm packages that gets loaded, those gets downloaded as the node underscore modules folder. The major thing here is this src, which is our source folder. So in this source folder, you can see that we already have created this adaptive card extension with the name of hello world. So this is the property pane code that we have got. So property pane is the pane that we see whenever we can go ahead and edit the adaptive card. So onto the right hand side, the pane that we see, this is the property pane. If in case you want to add more properties here, it can be done from here. Then we have got this adaptive card extension.ts file, which is nothing but our entry point to the code. Okay, so this is the entry point to our code, which into which we need to go ahead and register all of our card views and quick views. So let us explore like what is mean by card view and what is mean by quick view. So I guess the our gulp serve is ready. Let me just go ahead refresh that. So our gulp serve is ready. It is running onto the workbench, and then what I can do is I can simply click on this edit, and onto this local you can see we have this new adaptive card extension ready, which is hello world. I can just click on that. Probably I can just click on edit web part. So this is a property pane which is available, which we were talking about. If you add more properties, you should be able to see and configure more properties from here. For a time being, I'm just changing this card size to large so that we can see this into a broader view. We can click on this preview to see how this extension will look like. So this is the experience that we see for our card, and this is something called as a card view. Once you click on any of the button on this card view, another window pops through and we called it as a quick view. And again, we can have another quick view being called from this quick view to design the experience for our users. Okay, so this is just the basic difference between card view and quick view. But all of the cards and quick views we need to get registered into this entry point, right? So this is the thing that we have got here. The next thing what we are going to do is now that we are going to focus more on how we are able to go ahead and add add the functionality to go ahead and start using the SharePoint data. So as you know already, we have this SharePoint list and we are going to consume data from here. So I'm just going to add few of the imports here. So the documentation is again already available onto the SharePoint PNP site, but we were just going to import SPFI and SPFX to go ahead and start interacting with the SharePoint web, SharePoint list, as well as SharePoint items, because it is the information that we want to go ahead and start using. Again, for example, if I go back to the SharePoint site, we have got title and description here. So I'm just going to go ahead and add those as properties. And then again, what we want to go ahead is do is we want to go ahead and define the state. So in state, we can go ahead and define what kind of things that we want to go ahead and start using as we move along the application. So here we have got current index. So onto which index right now we are, and then again these are the items which represents the SharePoint list item. So for that again going to define this interface, which is our title and description itself. All right. So this is the thing that we are doing so far. And whenever we go ahead and define our state, obviously we'll have to go ahead and define the initial state for that. So for that, what we are going to do is since this current index is a number, I'm going to initialize that with 0, and items I'm going to initialize with some dummy item with title of nothing and description of nothing, and that's it. Now that what we need to go ahead is we need to go ahead and consume the data from SharePoint. So for that, again, I'm going to paste some code here, but I can explain that. So what we are going to do here is that we are calling the SharePoint framework by passing on the context from our code, and then we are simply trying to get this information from the from the projects list that we have got here, name as projects. And then once we get that, we are just binding all that information into the title and description. That's it. And since we want to do this as an asynchronous operation, we'll just go ahead and use this async here. Okay, that's it. So kind of a pretty much simple code, and whenever you will start developing this kind of a code, you will get more habitual to it. All right, so this is the only thing that we have done as an entry point. So whenever this component will load, it will go ahead and fetch the information from SharePoint. Now that we are going to use this information in our card view, so for that what I'm going to do here is that okay, so in this card view, we have got few of the functionalities like card buttons. So all of the buttons that we see onto our card view, for example, this is the quick view kind of a button. This one is coming from here. Okay, so this is the quick view. Again, data is the data that we want to go ahead and show onto this card view, right? And then lastly, what should happen on the selection of this card? So let's say, for example, if I click here, it is going to open up the bing.com. Okay, so this is a functionality which is available. So these are the three major methods available here. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm just going to replace this entire method by creating my own buttons here. Okay, so please excuse me for the code that I'm going to paste here, but I can explain you the code. So what we are going to do here is that we are just going to go ahead and create two buttons. So for that I have defined array of buttons, and then for example, based on number of items that we have got into this list, uh, we are going to show the previous and next button. Okay, so for example, if the current index is greater than 0, we are going to go ahead and show the previous button. If in case it is less than the number of items in the list, we are going to show the next button. Okay, so this is a simple thing that we are going to do here. And now that in the data we want to show like what kind of an information that we want to go ahead and show onto that card. So for that reason, instead of directly defining the information from here, what I'm going to do here is that I will just get that information from the state which is being set in our previous example here. Okay, so this is the state where we store the information. Now that we are getting that information, and then we are just simply returning that information. So you must have seen that we got some error. This is just simply because we are not using this import kind of an things here. Okay, so that's it, and probably we should be able to go ahead and start using this. All right. So again, let's say for example, now that here in this data, what we have is whenever we click onto the data, we want to go ahead, or maybe onto the card selection. What we want to go do is we want to go ahead and then probably show some kind of a data. So for that, I'm going to use one method called as an on action, which is again another kind of an method available to us. Okay, so I'm just going to do this import here.
So, Nandeep, if we could wrap up in the next 2 to 3 minutes,
Sure, sure, sure.
that'd be
Yeah,
great.
I'm
Thank
almost
you.
to the end. Yeah, I know this is kind of a developer work, but yeah, all right. So I will do it in just a couple of minutes, right? Okay, all right. So I hope you are still following up with me. Again, now that let's say for example, on the click of this card, instead of opening this Bing.com, I want to go ahead and open up the card view or quick view. I can write this code. Okay, so I'm just keeping it bit fast, but let's see. Now that let us wait until this thing gets compiled and we are going to see the result. So build is successful. Let me just go ahead, do a refresh here. Once we do that refresh, I can go into the preview screen and you can see that all this information is coming from this list. Okay, contours of fabrication and the description here. Okay, I can click next. I can see this Fabricam Consulting, the next item from this list, and the description. So we can keep scrolling through this list. And once we click on this, we are able to see this quick view. And for example, if you want to go ahead and do the customization for your quick view, in that case, this is the quick view wherein we should be able to go ahead, bind the data, and QQ is JSON based, so you should be able to go ahead and define your template here in the form of JSON. So probably I can just keep this as an exercise for you or maybe a homework for you, so that you can go ahead and maybe try to bind the same data that we have seen here. And then once you click on this quick view, probably the same data can be shown here. Okay, so just to keep in mind the time that we have got in hand, let me just wrap up quickly. So these are the things that we have seen. And then for example, if you want to go ahead start developing something on top of Microsoft Viva connection, so these are few kind of an resources that you can go ahead. So for example, if you just want to explore more about Viva and Viva happenings, you can use this URL. Or for example, if you want to have the overview of Viva connections, you can go ahead and use that. There is a new or good Microsoft Learn modules available. For example, if you're specifically looking out to extend Microsoft Viva connections with SharePoint framework, in that case, you can go ahead and look out these two links that are available onto the screen. At the same time, for example, if you want to see like um, again, there are a couple of blog posts available onto my blog. If you want to go ahead and maybe start building your adaptive card extension, so you can go ahead and check them out as well. And with that, thank you very much for having us, and we are open up for any of the questions. And back to you, Daryl.
Yeah, thank you.
Daryl and I have done a little swap,
Oh,
so
okay. Hi,
thanks very
Kevin.
much, Nandeep and Smita. That was a fantastic session. I hope others enjoyed that. It's nice to have the balance with these conferences of the kind of
Yep,
high level Viva elements with the kind of more detailed tech side of
yep,
things, and I think the power of Viva Connections cards. I'm going to talk about in the next section. Will really show the value of what you did. So. Yeah, if anyone watching does
yep.
have any questions, if you can throw them into the chat, I'm just keeping an eye, and I haven't seen any come through. Um,
Yeah. Right, Miss. I know that the focus of this session was mostly for the developers kind of a thing, but
yeah,
at least I just wanted everyone to be aware. Like for example, if you want to go ahead, start extending your Viva connection experience, there are ways to go ahead and do it, Miss. And believe me, for example, if you have find it a bit difficult, as you will practice, you will find it very easy, right? So if you have got more
absolutely.
ideas how to go ahead do it, there are many ways available through SharePoint framework.
And as someone who's been through the many years of SharePoint developments, the nicety of having that SharePoint framework in that kind of JavaScript, TypeScript world where you can kind of pick up your own framework, I think is fantastic. So really
Yeah,
any other web developers can pick it up, and it opens it up a lot more than it used to be, where it used to be very, very
yeah,
painful. So no, it's fantastic, and also about bringing people's data through. So no, that was
yeah,
really great.
yeah. Thank you.
Well, I'll say thank you very much to both of you for speaking today, and I hope you're able to stick around and enjoy some of the sessions online throughout the day. Uh, Otherwise, yeah, a big thank you, and I hope I can bump into both of you at a conference soon. I'm sure we'll come to something international. I keep eyeing up some of the sessions over in India, and definitely want to come visit one day.
Sure, definitely. Looking forward to that day. All right. Thank you very much again
Thanks very much.
for this opportunity. And see
Cheers,
you.
Nandi.
Yeah,
Cheers,
yeah,
Smita.
yeah. Thanks.